Hariom everyone.
Hari Om, Nareshi. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. वसुदेव वसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. So we are going to be starting chapter 11. Chapter 10 was like preparation for this. This is on one hand it's a long chapter, beautiful chapter, but to really understand it, it's a little bit difficult. And some of the Swamis say the same thing. So we will try our best and try to go in the depth of it, what exactly it means. And Swamiji has given a lot of pointers about it. So let's see how much we understand from it. And so we will we'll read the introduction also. But just to kind of get started, a few things I wanted to share. What Nikhilananji said and all that, maybe that'll make it easier. So most of us probably know that we talk about this chapter a lot, Virat Roop, Vishwaroop Darshan. That's what it is, a long chapter. And this happens on the request of Arjuna. He shows him the Virat Roop. And what it is that, let me try to explain this. So one point is, how do I see the God in the world, right? That was the question, last one. And so why do we call it preparation? Because that's relatively easier to see that. But Bhagwan ne hamesha bola na, everything exists in me. That's the words he uses. So it's like, hey, how can everything exist in you? He wants to see the practical demonstration, okay? So that's why he requests him. So as though in Bhagwan's body itself, he wants to see it, because it's, hey, everything exists in me. So that's what it is. It's like sounds like an impossible task, but Bhagwan makes it possible. So that's what, keep that in mind. So, and then, so when Bhagwan did oblige him to see the whole universe, and uska thoda sa stories and glimpse हमने सुना था. Do you remember when there is a story where यशोदा माँ ने देखा कि वो भगवान ने मिट्टी खाई है, तो उसको बोला कि मिट्टी खाई तूने? तो बोला नहीं मैंने तो नहीं खाई, इट्स अ बेबी. जब बोला नहीं मुंह खोलो, तो मुंह खोला तो पूरा ब्रह्मांड दिखाई दिया, राइट? वो बेहोश हो गई. एंड देन बट भगवान ने उनको भुला दिया. If she sees him as a god, she will not be able to take care of him as a baby. That was one story we heard. So few times it happened, and the other time he showed the Virat Roop not completely like he showed it to Arjun. Arjun ka, it is a max what he showed it to Arjun. Remember that. Another time was when Duryodhan was trying to unko bandi banane ki koshish kar raha tha. When he went, Krishna Bhagwan was sent before the war to do peacemaking. They chose Krishna Bhagwan, go and talk, peace talk, so that war nahi ho. तो भगवान आए और दुर्योधन को गुस्सा आ गया. सो ही सेड बंदी बनाओ इनको. तो भगवान ने अपना वो थोड़ा सा रूप दिखा दिया, तो सब डर के भाग गए वहां से, जो उनको बंदी बनाने के लायक थे. और लेकिन सब लोग देख भी नहीं पाए, बिकॉज यू नीड टू हैव अ दिव्य दृष्टि. बट जिनके पास थोड़ी सी थी, बोलना चाहिए पार्शल, उन्होंने पार्शल देखा. So it has happened before. So that was one point. So here, what he talks about is that in that Virat Roop, Bhagwan showed certain things, and then whatever Arjun wanted to see, he could see also. Hey, I want to see this future mein kya hone wala hai, Arjun was able to see. So it is something very, you go beyond time and space. You can kind of explain it from the scientific manner also, and I'll try, but it's a little complicated thing. So in this chapter, Bhagwan talks about vision. मुझको दिव्य दृष्टि, सबने सुना होगा. भगवान ने उसको बोला कि ये वाला देखने के लिए तुझे दिव्य दृष्टि देनी पड़ेगी. तो मैंने उनको दी गई, Arjun ko. So what is the Divya Drishti? So Nikhilananji explained in steps very nicely. So he was talking about, okay, what is Divya Drishti? Let's start with the ordinary vision. We all are born with a vision, right? Our eyes that we can see, and we can comprehension power in our mind with the eyes. These are the fleshy eyes. So that is one vision, okay? So that is the most ordinary thing that everybody can understand. All of us have it. But you know that एक कहावत है ना, जैसी दृष्टि वैसी सृष्टि. तो सबका भले आंखें का वो सेम होता है, जो इक्विपमेंट सभी का, एंड चश्मा वश्मा लगा के हम लोग सब 20/20 विजन भी कर सकते हैं आजकल. दैट्स वन एस्पेक्ट ओनली. व्हाट यू अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम व्हाट यू सी, दैट्स द सेकंड एस्पेक्ट. वो भी विजन का ही एक पार्ट होता है. So, and then we have not come to that chapter yet where Bhagwan tells that how this whole Prakriti is tamasic, rajasic, sattvic. So vision may be tamasic, rajasic, sattvic hota hai. How? That, so each one of us has certain qualities, and we see the world like that from our own point of view, and with our own wisdom and our own understanding, right? That's how we see it. So what is this tamasic, rajasic? So I'll just give a little idea so we get. Tamasic vision is when somebody thinks, oh, there is one type of thing only and that controls the whole world. How do I give an example? Somebody thinks money is everything. If I get a lot of money, money can solve every problem. Money can, give me happiness. Ye wo. That's a very narrow one aspect of it you take, and then you go from there. Okay, wait, let me just do couple of things here. Okay. So that is called tamasic. What is the rajasic vision? Rajasic vision is when I see the world, I see the differences, but I see many different aspects. Not just one thing. I don't attribute the whole world for one thing only. So that becomes rajasic. Sattvic vision is what Krishna Bhagwan is trying to show Arjun, seeing oneness in everything. Seeing that God factor in everything. That becomes like a sattvic vision, okay? So that's what, when we are talking about vision. And going further, so how do we understand this sattvic vision? Because that's what we have to strive for. So he gave a very nice example. Nikhilananji gave this example. And we know this example, but just so that we understand this particular thing about vision, that's why I'm giving this example. And we'll see the aspects of that example, how it connects to the vision. That we know that gold and gold ornaments, right? So somebody, suppose, hypothetical, everybody knows what gold is. Suppose hypothetically somebody doesn't know the gold element as such. So when they look at the ornaments, they will only see names and form. I mean, they will see the different ornaments, and they don't even care about what gold, they don't know what gold is. But the person who has a vision of gold, they know what gold is, they can see gold in every ornament. And they know that everything comes from gold, then all these varieties made, and it can merge back, something new can come out, because gold is such, it doesn't change. That's what is like the sattvic vision. So I thought he gave a very good example. Okay. So what if we have to change our vision? It is not that easy to change. How do we change our vision? By studying the scripture, by contemplation, and trying to understand the reality behind what it is. That's how we change our vision. So this is a subtle way of changing, broadening our vision, understanding deeply and all that. So with all these contemplations, studying the scriptures and all that we are doing now, we will be able to see that in all the differences, there's a one common factor underlying everything, the substratum. Okay? And that way it can change our vision. And Bhagwan had already, remember I told you that in Bhagavad Gita, he already talked about that concept the earlier, and now he expands on it as we go. But he has already mentioned that in chapter 7. Whoever was here, and if you remember, the most important one of the most important verses in chapter 7 is Sutre Manigana Eva, means like a garland of flowers, or the necklace, that there is a thread that goes through the necklace and holds everything together. That's how I hold this universe. But, Nikhilanandji expanded this kind of example a little more, that flower garland instead of मोतियों की माला, because मोती सब एक जैसे होते हैं. Flower garland में it can be 10 different flowers. Each one can have a different color. Each one can have a different fragrance. It can be a different type, different size. But वो एक माला कितनी सुंदर बना सकते हैं उससे, right? Whoever knows how to do the mala. And so that thread is common and it holds everything together. So the universe is held like that. So that's a vision. Okay? And then he gave another, how we are connected with each other, because sometimes we feel like, oh, we are all separate. It's easy to separate. I'm Hindu, Muslim, this, that, I'm Indian, I'm American, I'm Chinese, God knows. You can make 100 differences with people. But something holds us all together. Adrishya Shakti jaise bolte hai na? We are all connected. Without that connection, we cannot transact with each other. So we don't think about these things. So he gave an example of a cell phone. Okay, he's saying that these days cell phone it is wireless, right? There's nothing connected to it, but we all are. And I was thinking about it. I said, my God, in today's world, we are anybody who has a cell phone anywhere around the world, we can connect to them right now. And we all, whoever has our relatives in India and all that, it's brothers and sisters. If somebody's or some relatives, it's like talking as though they are talking next to you. It is so clear these days. He's saying that it's some kind of, if you're a scientist, maybe you know the whole workings of it. But even if you're not a scientist, we know that some power is there that connects us through all these towers, bolo kuch. But it is not seen, right? There's no wire connecting and I can still talk. We are connected. So if that can happen in this world, why not in the spiritual world that Bhagwan is connecting all of us? So like that he was showing. I thought that was very great. And so he also said one more thing which we didn't kind of think about, that when people are conversing with each other, that's also a connection. Somebody's talking, somebody's listening to you. There are no wires between us, through the sound, through this thing, understanding it. So that is a connection. So these connections are there in the gross world also, which is a little bit almost like, not secret to nahi bolna chahiye word, but Bhagwan does use the word guhyam. It's not that easy to understand that. But it's there, that's how we have to look at it. It's unseen. And so this is called the eye of wisdom. Me understanding that there is a connection with the rest of the world and all. So that's one aspect of Divya Drushti. But interesting thing is that there is another level of Divya Drushti. Wisdom is and understanding is very important too. Without that, you can't even go to the next level. So we're kind of going in the higher level. Okay. So vision of the fleshy vision, then vision of understanding, and this deep understanding about the connection. And now Bhagwan says that I'm going to give you a Divya Drushti and you will be able to see the entire world in me. And this Divya Drushti that I'm giving you, that you cannot get it by scriptural studies. Bhagwan says that in this chapter. You cannot get it with tapas or any sadhana. You can only get it by my grace. So koi bolega, is Bhagwan partial? Oh, Arjuna, you are my friend, so I'll give you. No. If you have done all these things, the grace comes. It's like a child and the parents. If child is trying so hard, the parents say, okay, I'm going to help you now because you're doing so well, trying so hard. So that's how it is, okay? So the final thing is Bhagwan's grace only. But this particular vision that he got, Durlabh, it calls it. Ekdam, not very few people can see it. But Swamiji talks about this. On one hand, it's a Divya vision, but you can also say deep understanding, deep comprehension within us. From the scientifically also we can say, scientists will say, the whole world is like an energy only. है कि नहीं? Everything is in the energy. So you are kind of going deeper into what it is. So that it proves from the scientific side also, whichever way you want to see it. So, but Nikhilanandji did warn that it is a very difficult to comprehend this vision, but we will try. And then he gave one more example. So basically what happened was that when Arjuna asked that, hey, show me the whole world in you, भगवान ने कुछ ऐसा मैजिक किया दिव्य दृष्टि से कि भगवान वहाँ बैठे थे and he could see the whole world in Bhagwan's body. So that's what it was. So he said, this is not the best example, but maybe थोड़ा सा click होएगा अपने को. It's just like you go to see a 3D movie. आजकल तो खैर नहीं है, पर एक टाइम पे जब नई आई थी तो all of us must have gone, right? They give you those glasses for 3D. And then you see the movie, and then after the movie is over, you give their glasses back because that glasses is only for that particular movie. If you take their glasses and start looking at the world, you won't be able to function. सब double दिखाई देगा. So he said something like that. Okay, भगवान ने उसको दिव्य दृष्टि दी, फिर अर्जुन बहुत घबरा गया, बोला बस अब मैं और नहीं देख सकता, तो वो वापस भी ले ली, because you can't function with that drishti in the world. So just trying to give some idea about this. Okay, So now another interesting thing is that everybody cannot understand and see this, but Arjun saw it, so did Sanjay. Sanjay ne bhi dekh liya, okay? Because Sanjay's mind was also pure compared to Dhritarashtra and all that, obviously. And he was describing it to Dhritarashtra, but Dhritarashtra ko nahi samajh mein aaya, okay? So that's why you need that purity of the mind to understand this. And then through Sanjay, the way Nikhilanandji was explaining, through the words of Sanjay, we can try to comprehend the Vishwaroop. Because we don't have that Divya Drishti that Arjuna had, but at least we can try to understand this. Okay? And then I think that we have talked about this aspect a lot, that Arjuna's whole persona changed after seeing that Vishwaroop Darshan, because so far he must be thinking, oh, Krishna Bhagwan is my friend, Bhagwan ने already काफी कुछ बोल दिया था, मगर फिर भी जो actual demonstration से कोई देखता है ना, तभी ज़्यादा असर होता है. You see that when we do the science class, remember high school science class, they used to tell us in theory, then they take us to the lab, and then they show us, and तभी, oh wow, now I that's how it is. So this is Bhagwan's lab. Okay, he showed him actually. So that's what it is. और क्या था? I'm trying to see, because this is a difficult one. So I don't want to miss anything. I made some notes for myself from Nikhilanandji's lecture. Okay, so I think I covered most of the point. That's what Nikhilanandji was saying. Now, let's read Swamiji's commentary, because that he goes into some other very important point. Before we actually go into the verses, this will be very helpful for us, because then we will get most out of it. Otherwise, you just read it like some fantastical thing. Same thing like we did the chapter 10. We went more depth into each verse so that we can understand it better. So we will start with the Cosmic Form Divine Introduction.
Could I ask one or two questions, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, when you were talking and I was thinking of the screen and the movie going on. Now, the movie, each pixel or whatever you call on the screen, that is movie. I mean, that is there. Mm-hmm. So is it like the world playing out on the Lord? The screen?
Yes, but this is what the difference is in the Divya form. Firstly, the entire cosmos was there. And secondly, there was an aspect that whatever you want to see, you can see it also. In the movie, that doesn't happen. Here, Arjuna had the ability, hey, I want to see what is happening in this war towards the end. He could see that.
Okay, so
He,
he saw the future, the past,
yes,
the
yes.
present, and the future.
He,
That's what it is.
so this is
Right.
exactly in this form, past, present, and future. Everything
Future.
you can see. Number one, and then what was the other thing I was going to say in this? At the same time, also, it is we
Yes,
cannot
yes.
comprehend. You know, the people
Right.
who have that near death experience, some of them have that. It's called being outside time and space.
Yes.
Yeah, time
Okay.
and space is related. Even scientifically, they
Yes.
know that.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this
Yeah.
is Bhagwan took him outside time and space for a while, so he could see
Okay.
everything. So that's what.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the second thing, that one thing you mentioned is when we talk, it's being communicated. That's the air, isn't it? That's the air.
That's the
aspect of it.
science part of it. You are right. There is a science part in it that
Part of it.
waves are going and all. वो भी भगवान का एक miracle है देखो तो. मगर the other thing is, hey, I'm speaking and you are understanding what I'm saying. That goes beyond that. Like for example,
Yes. Okay, that's the consciousness or
Yes.
the intelligence part of it that
yes.
you're talking
So
about.
each one,
Okay.
whatever, even in the Gita class, everybody gets what they can get out of it, and each one will get something different out of it at different times,
Right.
and this can
Right.
change also. But in a very complicated manner, we all are connected with each other. And then we have done the couple of Upanishads where they say there is a total mind effect also. Means all our mind,
Yes,
we think that our mind, how can you know my mind, what is going on? That's true at the worldly level, you don't, but then people have ESP. There are people who can read other people's mind. There is some connection which can open up more and more. So that's the aspect he was talking about when he said we are all connected.
Okay.
And then we know that sometimes, you are thinking about somebody and that person
And then
calls.
somebody calls them. Yes. Oh, definitely.
Some
yes.
kind of message is gone to that person, and we don't know how it did, but it did.
Yes.
And like your old friends, sometimes, we move from one city to another, this, that. You meet somebody after 15 years and you feel that, same connection. You come back to the same,
Yes.
So all that is there in this world,
Okay.
Yes. Any other question anybody has?
And the third question, which is very simple and it may not be connected. I think of always the cloth and the weaving in the cloth of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think of it as, that's the Lord, as if, it's the same. I think of the Lord as we all are. We are part of that. It's a big cloth is the Lord, and we are all part of that. So we are all into it. That's to me.
Yes, that example is given. Actually, Swamiji gave that example in that self-unfoldment book very nicely. He said there is a cotton, there is
Yes.
a thread, and there is one
Yes.
tapestry.
Yes.
So that
yes.
Brahman is that cotton. The entire
Yes.
tapestry is cotton, and the thread is like Ishwar. That Ishwar aspect, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and all that. And then from there, everything is coming, and then you make this beautiful tapestry. So without cotton, the tapestry cannot be. Without thread, if you break the thread, everything is broken.
Right,
So
right.
that's
So
how
that-
it is together. And that other example of the tapestry, you must have heard of it. I don't know if whoever has not heard, it's a beautiful example that there was a grandma doing some कढ़ाई बोलते हैं ना in हिंदी में वो embroidery कर रही थी कुछ scene बना रही थी.
Acha, yeah, okay, yeah.
And there was a little kid, who was sitting underneath, and he could see it from नीचे से and say, what mess you are doing, नीचे से धागा ऐसे उल्टा सुल्टा दिखता है. So she said, I'm not doing any mess, I'm making a beautiful scenery. I said, no, grandma, I don't see a beautiful scenery, I see big hodgepodge. Then the grandma puts him in her lap, and then he sees from the top, and he sees a beautiful tapestry. Everything is like harmony, now I understand. वही हमारा हाल है. When we look at the world, there's chaos and सब कट रहे हैं, मर रहे हैं, सब एक दूसरे को cheat कर रहे हैं. क्या है ये? What is this nonsense? But then you see, no, there is a harmony. It's all the karmic thing going, and actually there is a beautiful harmony in the whole cosmos.
It is there,
Yeah.
yes.
So that's what the tapestry thing that got reminded of.
Okay.
Yeah.
While you were talking, I was just,
No, that's
things were
fine.
coming in my mind. So thank you.
Okay, who wants to volunteer? Couple of different people can read. There are 3-4 pages of it. That will help us a lot before we go into. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? The cosmic form divine, the introduction in the beginning of the chapter. Yeah, okay. Who wants to read? Any volunteers? Anil Bhai.
In the general scheme of development of the theme, Lord Krishna had already explained his eminence in all the objects of the world, Vibhuti. This expansion of himself in all objects and beings as a perceptible divine presence is exhaustively explained in the previous chapter entitled Vibhuti Yoga, the divine glories.
So this one we know that I have used this word, Swamiji uses this word all the time, his eminence. Eminence means presence everywhere. So that we saw in the Vibhuti, and then Vibhuti means vistar, spread of Bhagwan's glory. So expansion of and perceptible divine presence. So now we have learned a little bit to see Bhagwan in everything, right? That's what he's saying. It's called Vibhuti Yoga, the divine glories.
Studying this chapter, keeping in view the scheme of development in the Gita, we detect here that a perfectly modern and scientific method of investigation is employed. An intellectual inquiry, first of all, seeks to gather enough data to support a theory, and thereafter it demands an experimental demonstration of the same, without which the theory cannot be established. If in the previous chapter, therefore, the Gita has supplied us with enough data to prove the thesis that the self is the substratum for the multiple worlds, in this chapter the attempt is to supply Arjun with practical demonstration that everything does exist only in the self.
So whatever I had said earlier, that it is so scientific, we don't think about it that way. पहले सारा डेटा दिया उनको, प्रिपेयर किया और थियरी में सब बताया, और अब बोला कि मुझे प्रैक्टिकल डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन बताओ. Exactly like I said about science experiment. You study in the theory, then I want to see it actually happening. Hey, H2O, so it is hydrogen and oxygen. Then, they used to do that experiment, separate the two and this and that and all that. मैं भूल गई. All of us must have gone through that. That's what it is. This particular chapter, after giving him the theory, practical demonstration, how is the world in Bhagwan? हम सुना है सब कुछ भगवान में ही है, एंड भगवान ने ये वर्ड्स भी यूज किया है कि सारी दुनिया मुझ में है, एंड थोड़ा सा अंश ही है वो दुनिया, तो फिर कैसे है वो मुझे दिखाओ. That's what is going to happen here.
The declaration that the mud is the essence of all parts is established only when we prove not only that all parts have mud in them, but also that the mud always potentially contains all parts of all shapes and dimensions. To see the mud in every part, one has only to train one's eyes to detect the mud as separate from the part shapes, but to see all parts in the mud, no doubt, the observer needs a special eye. He needs a sufficient sense of detachment and a scholarly amount of imagination, without which it is impossible for him to detect the world of parts in any sample of mud.
This is a very brilliant example Swamiji gave. So now go to this mud and mud pots. So he said, to see mud in every pot is relatively easy. तुमको 2-3 बार दिखा दिया, mud pots can be of different color and all that, but किसी कुछ तोड़ के दिखा दिया, कुछ भी करके finally we convince हो गए कि okay, there is a mud in every pot. Right? That's easy for us to understand. The other flip side of it is that mud as such has a capability of making any pot of any shape and anything. You got it? So he's saying that kind of vision, hey, what can a mud make? It requires a little detachment, Detachment means, जैसे दूर से सोचो, and then it requires imagination. So now when Bhagwan says that the whole world is in me, that's why it is past, present and future. Past में जो हुआ वो भी भगवान का ही है, जो अभी हो रहा है उसमें भी भगवान ही है सब, और जो आगे होने वाला है वो भी सब भगवान के थ्रू होता है. Just like in a mud, a big pile of mud, once I know that many parts I can imagine anything from there. That's what he's talking about. So that completes the circle. Our teacher used to call it many in one and one in many. Yoga and Vibhuti, both we have to understand. That's the example.
So,
Yes.
is similar to the tree and the seed, right? That tree has all the seeds, but the seed is capable of creating the tree, but we don't see it.
Yes, you can give that too. Yeah. The reason that this mud and mud pot or golden ornament even goes beyond it, because it's like everything in that one thing.
Okay.
Got it. But that tree and that example is not bad either for our comprehension.
But
Yes.
different, yeah.
Yeah. Slightly
created out
different.
of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, because the tree seed, I think, goes away once you see
Right,
them.
right.
Whereas the mud and the gold would be still
Was same.
there.
That's
Right.
one. Yes.
The past
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Seed is destructible, mud and gold are
Yeah.
not. They
And
are
then
just
seed
things
का क्या है कि
eternal.
yes.
Yeah.
Seed can only create one kind of tree because that's that kind. Here we are talking about this bigger factor that makes up everything. That's what it is. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Makes sense.
Similarly, it was described in the last chapter to see the self peeping through the windows of finite objects is relatively an easy task, but it is hard indeed for a mortal to cognize at once the entire universe in one reality, the self. And yet, this is possible with the eye of knowledge, which knows so well the art of discrimination and which has so developed in itself a sufficient sense of detachment so that the observer can forget for the moment all his attachments and view on in a spirit of hushed expectancy and thrilled wonderment.
So again, the same idea, but he's saying that the last chapter we saw self peeping through the windows of finite objects is relatively easy. That okay, once he showed us, hey, I'm in everything and anything that is glorious, that is part of me, and because it is easier to see Bhagwan in the glorious things, and then you expand it to the whole thing. So he's saying that, but कोई बोले कि सब कुछ भगवान में है, वो थोड़ा difficult होता है हमारे लिए देखने के लिए. But he's just saying that with the art of discrimination, vivek buddhi se, and sense of detachment. That's why to know Bhagwan we need vivek and vairagya. Bar Bhagwan ne bola, right? Chapter 6 maybe when Arjuna said, oh, my mind is, I can't control my mind. He said, abhyas and vairagya bola wo time pe. But abhyas it's like a similar thing, vivek, vairagya. That's what we need, and then we will be able to see the whole world in the reality or in the self.
What exactly makes the things of the world exist separately from one another? My physical structure is certainly separated from the form and substance of the book that I'm reading, or the chair in which I sit, or the table that is in front of me. I am separated from all others, and every one of them is separate from everything else. Scientifically viewed, the factor that determines the physical existence of all things in the world is the same, and yet we do not feel the oneness, they being separated from each other to exist as individualized entities. What exactly are the factors that divide body from body, that separate object from object?
So this is like a totally kind of mind-boggling thing that we don't think about. We are all made of 5 elements. It's exactly same, but we feel this separation. So he's just building up in this paragraph. What makes us separate is the space. That's all it is. अगर space को suck कर लिया, तो सब एक हो जाएगा. We don't think of it that way. And even in the science, they call it time and space. And if you talk about science, the Big Bang theory, one singularity was there, and then a big bang happened, and then everything got started separating, and the space is expanding, and even our solar system. Think about it. They said it was a big ball of some fire or something, huh? And then it was spinning very fast, and all the 9 planets got separated from it. Same. Whether you go to science or spirituality, at the core of it is going to be the same. So he's just building it up to say, hey, have you ever thought about it? What makes us separate? And then he's going to tell in the next paragraph.
On a careful analysis, it will be quite clear to the thinker that it is the concept of space that divides the physical structures into independent islands. That which separates me from you, or me from my book, is the intervening space. Within my forearm, from the elbow to the wrist, there is certainly a sense of oneness, because there is no intervening space present within the homogeneity of its entire length. While my fingers are separate, each being interleaved by space, in case the concept of space has been totally blotted out, it will be clear that all objects will immediately come together into a happy embrace and will represent themselves as one congenial, homogeneous whole. And in this mass of things, there must be all the shapes and forms of all things of this world at one and the same place and time. This is the concept of the cosmic man, the vision of the world when viewed by a mind in which the concept of time and space has been dried up, though not totally.
Sounds really bizarre, right? But it makes sense scientifically that what is separating us is the space, और वो space का concept ही निकाल दिया, सब एक साथ हो जाएगा. And we cannot do it all the time. I was just thinking about it. The India में, that laddu बनाने के लिए there's a big heap of thing, bundi ka laddu, and then we sit and make those balls and then put it separately, right? If you put it all together, they all come in the happy embrace. So he's just telling us, we don't think about it, that what is separating us is the space. And when Bhagwan said, I'm going to give a divya vision, one of the ways you can look at it, Bhagwan ne uska concept of space nikal diya, space and time uske dimag se. He can see everything together. But he said not totally. Why he didn't do totally? Because he wanted to see everything in Bhagwan. So भगवान ने अपनी बॉडी में दिखा दिया उसको, मिनिएचर बना दिया उसको, सब कुछ, like that. So if you can follow this.
Supposing a toy maker makes out of wax hundreds of different forms of animals, birds, and creatures that stocks them in a cupboard. Viewed through its glass panes, no doubt the monkey doll is different from the cow doll, and both of them are separate from the baby doll. But suppose the doll maker changes his mind and he decides to destroy the whole lot and make out of these stuff something more profitable. On the shelf of the cupboard, the same toys are separated from each other by the intervening space. Suppose the toy maker decides to destroy them all to squeeze them into one ball of wax. In this act, the maker of the dolls has eliminated the spaces that were there before between the dolls, and in thus bringing them together, he created a huge ball of wax on the surface of which we could see the traces of almost all the dolls that were brought together. The tail of the monkey, the face of the cow, the smile of the child, the head of the dog, and so on.
So you can see the Swamiji went really far to tell you about this concept. The wax का उसने doll बनाई, सब अलग रखा, और एक दिन उसने बोला वो चलो, that's called annihilation, or that's called प्रलय, जो भी बोलना हो. भगवान ने बोला okay, अभी तुम लोगों ने बहुत मजा कर लिया, अब मुझे कुछ और बनाना है. Everybody squeezed together, and then so that's what it is. It makes a lot of sense from the science perspective too. So that's what it is. So whatever fits in your mind. I thought this was a great example that he gave. That now we know that how the world comes and goes. Yeah.
But when they are all made into one ball of wax, all traces are gone. Why are we saying that we can see traces?
It's like a क्या बोलना चाहिए, slow process. Okay, first everybody was separate, फिर वो साथ में ball बना दिया. He's just telling you that maybe it is not all complete smooth ball नहीं बनाया अभी. तो जब साथ में सबको कर दिया तो किसी की टांग, किसी की वो, just a way of explaining. So even the annihilation, it is like a process that happens. It's not like in 1 second it happened, or anything like that. That today there is a world and tomorrow it's gone, It takes a little time. That's all it is.
Similarly, if Krishna could dry up the concept of space in the mind of Arjuna, the prince would be able to see the whole universe in his own palm. However, here we find that the Arjuna's mind was enough freedom to move above within the space limit of Krishna's divine structure. Naturally, Dhananjaya sees in the Krishna form the entire universe compressed and packed.
So what here Swamiji is trying to say, whatever Arjuna asked, Krishna supplied that exact thing because he is capable of doing that. So you can even understand the whole universe on your palm also. Because remember, we talked about it, that one drop of, salt water from the ocean represent the entire ocean also. So from that understanding perspective, we can see the whole world on a palm. But Arjun wanted to see in body of Krishna, so the way they showed that उन्होंने अपनी body बहुत बड़ी बना ली. When we saw the serial on the TV about Mahabharata and all, when this part came, most of us must have seen कि वो कृष्ण भगवान पहले तो उधर बैठे थे, फिर वो ऐसे विशाल बन गए और उसमें उनको सब कुछ दिखाई देने लगा. So like that, because he asked for it. That's why he showed him that. He's capable of showing in our understanding, on our palm of our hand, in somebody's body, or entire thing, whichever way somebody asks, he can do it. This is what Arjuna asked.
This concept of the cosmic man and the actual vision of it in the Gita satisfies the demand for demonstration of any age of intellectual self-assertion. Having seen the form, Arjun gets completely converted both in his faith and in his understanding.
So we know that, Swamiji tried to explain it from the scientific perspective also. And then, as we had discussed, that after seeing the practical demonstration, he got totally changed in his, completely he became okay, Krishna Bhagwan, you are the Bhagwan, and I'm ready to do, and my delusion is gone. Abhi, basically when it comes to chapter 18, he was completely ready, but this is a gradual process, but this was a huge change in his personality. In chapter 1, we saw he was not even ready to listen to Lord Krishna. He just kept talking and arguing and all that. Then in like we say in chapter 4, Bhagwan gave his visiting card to him. He told him a little bit of a divinity. I don't know how much it got into Arjuna's head. But this chapter, very big transformation happened to him. That's what he's saying.
In this chapter, we find how the exquisite dramatist in Vyas has milked the Sanskrit language dry to feed the beauty of his literary masterpiece. Apart from the chosen words and the mellifluous phrases, even metrical dexterity is being employed here as an effective strategy to heighten the dramatic situation and to paint clearly the emotions of the wonderment, amazement, fear, reverence, devotion, and so on in Arjuna. Although in the dignity of the concept, in the beauty of its diction, in the artistry of its depiction, and in its inner stream of drama, this chapter has been rightly upheld by all as one of the highest philosophical poems in the world's treasure house of sacred books.
Wow, Swamiji wrote a whole poetry on this thing. So he's just saying that Vyasa used every technique in what he had under his belt to express through the Sanskrit language, poetry, this, that, and pura ek scene bana diya. Itna fantastic. And it has a lot of philosophical value in it and treasure house in the second. So it is a very, very important. But to reach this chapter, काफ़ी पापड़ बेलने पड़े हम लोग को, 10 चैप्टर समझना पड़ा, तभी ये समझ में आएगा. If you directly go to this, then you won't get out of it. That's why the chapter 10 was so long and all that. Even though it was a lot of repetition and everything, prepares you for this. Like बोलते हैं ना, the athlete before going to kind of participate in Olympics, he has to do काफ़ी पापड़ बेलने पड़ते हैं उसको, सारी exercise करनी पड़ती है. तो all that 10 chapter is like that, up to the 10 chapter, and now we are getting ready for. So I think that should excite us enough about this chapter. Any question, comment? So I have another 15 minutes or 10 minutes, I would say. So I can at least chant and we can do a little bit. Let's see how far we go. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. अथ एकादशोऽध्यायः. अर्जुन उवाच मद अनुग्रहाय परमं गुह्यम् आध्यात्मसंज्ञितं यत्त्वयोक्तं वचस्तेन मोहोऽयं विगतो मम. So मद अनुग्रहाय, अनुग्रह करना जिसमें हिंदी में बोलते हैं, किसी को आउट ऑफ कंपैशन, किसी पे दया करना, समथिंग लाइक दैट, आउट ऑफ कंपैशन टूवर्ड्स मी. मद मीन्स मी, मम. अनुग्रहाय, मुझ पर कंपैशन किया आपने. परमम, द हाईएस्ट. गुह्यम, so this word, the guhyam, the secret, he's referring to the knowledge. The next word is adhyatma sangitam, concerning the self or the spirit. So this knowledge, which is a secret knowledge, so whoever did chapter 9 with us over here, we know that Bhagwan called this knowledge a secret, guhyam, not because, oh, don't tell anybody type of secret. It is hidden as though from you. It's like I gave that example of electricity and the equipment. We see the equipment, we see the effect of electricity, but we don't see electricity itself. It's like hidden in there. The only we come to know when we turn the light on, electricity बह रही है ना, ये भी नहीं मालूम पड़ता अपने को. Until you turn it on and you say, okay, electricity is coming or not coming. हो गया कि नहीं, थोड़ा secret जैसा. From that angle you think, huh? Not very easily understood by everybody. That's what it is. And also, it is because it's not understood very easily, we need shastras, we need gurus, we need to tell us. Otherwise, we won't even know about it. That's why he's saying. So he's saying that out of compassion towards me, you told me this secret, adhyatma sangitam, this knowledge which is about the spirit or about the self. Yat, which, tvaya, by you, uktam means to speak, spoken. Vacha, जैसे बोलते हैं ना तुम्हारे वचन. Vachan means words or, his teachings, you can say. Tena is by that, and moha, we know, delusion. Moha is something which happens in our head. Delusion is something wrong thinking in our head. Illusion is what we see outside. What is not that we see is called illusion. That happens outside our body. But delusion happens in our mind. The moha. Ayam, this. Vigata means gone. Mama is my. Means मेरा मोह सारा खत्म हो गया. मेरे को कोई doubt नहीं रह गया. And when I have put some other words for the guhyam word, it's like mysterious and profound, you can say. This knowledge is mysterious and profound, not that easily understood unless we have continuously study and all that. That's what it is. So some other points in this. So we saw that Vibhuti Yoga and all happened, that, Bhagwan ko pucha Arjun ne, so he told him everything about the glory and all that. And then he also said, okay, there are certain things that we can see more vividly. So wo example diya. And we know all those examples, Himalayas among the immovables, among the rivers, Ganga and all that. So sari Vibhuti elaborate ki. But if you remember, the end mein Bhagwan ne bola, I pervade this entire world, right? That was a very important thing that he said from the last chapter. And this whole world exists in just little part of me. That's another very important thing, So even though this world looks so vast, but it's just a little part. So that's an important thing we have to remember before jumping into this chapter. So now Bhagwan showed all this. Arjun has a request. So वो थोड़ा भूमिका बना रहा है before the request, okay? And instead of just saying भूमिका बना रहा है, वो सच भी बोल रहा है कि क्या हुआ है उसके साथ. It's like, okay, do I believe in God and do I don't believe in God? In the beginning, you're like shaky. I don't know if all of you were or not. Maybe some people are very lucky that from the very beginning they have 100% faith. Some of us, we go through that period. And then you start listening to the Guru, you start studying Gita, and then slowly your doubts go, yes, I know there is Bhagwan, that's it. Somebody even try to shake this out of my head. I know it is there. I don't know yet the experience, but I have a complete faith. Something like that you think about this, So what are the different deep meaning of the words? Mad anugrahaya means that the words that you have uttered, the top secret words that you have revealed to me. So when he's saying Mad anugrah, he's having a lot of with an attitude of gratitude towards Bhagwan. Because Bhagwan ne kafi effort kiya. है कि नहीं? He made this effort to tell him. He's appreciating that effort of Bhagwan. That's what is another point in here. And then about Adhyatma Sangitam means concerning the knowledge of the self. It's a very interesting thing the way Nikhilanandji explained. That he's saying that whatever we know about ourselves in this world, we only know about our body and mind and all that. We really don't know who we are. Now, because we have studied and all that, we understand we are Atma and things like that. In general, I'm talking about. You go to school, college and everything. सब कुछ समझने के बाद भी we are unaware, ignorant about who we are. That's the point he was trying to say. And he was just saying that there was one Samarth Ramdas Swami, if somebody has heard about him, great saint. So he made a statement. He said that after doing all the sadhana, studying the scripture, learning everything, I was introduced myself to myself. कि तू कौन है? Abhi tak I was ignorant. Somebody introduced finally कि who you are. I met myself. जैसे अमेरिका में बोलते हैं ना, I have to go and discover myself. Some of these new generation people say that. It's discovering ourselves, okay? Who we are. So and then Nikhilanandji gave a very interesting thing about analogy that we'll understand. He's saying that it's something like somebody gives you a gift, suppose, and the gift is so beautifully wrapped with the ribbon and nice paper and all that तुम उस wrapping में ही खो जाओ. अरे वाह 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 क्या गिफ्ट दिया है मुझे, एंड तुम भूल ही जाओ कि अंदर भी कुछ है. वो गिफ्ट को रख लिया, कोई आया बोला अरे ये क्या है ये, तो बोला कितनी सुंदर गिफ्ट है देखो, तो बोला क्या है ये, आई डोंट नो येट, आई एम जस्ट काइंड ऑफ स्टक, रिबन कितना अच्छा है, कितनी सुंदर गिफ्ट है, पापा खोल के तो देखो क्या है उसके अंदर, कुछ और. That's what happens to us, he said. I thought that was such a great analogy. That our body, mind, intellect is just an outer covering. Body is the most gross. थोड़ा सा अंदर जाके एक और covering है. We saw the 5 sheets, right? That's what he was referring to. These are all wrappings. Okay? Real masala is inside that we are not even aware of it. That secret is, and we have to understand it through all these scriptures and all that. Through the process of contemplation, meditation, then we will understand this beautiful gift which is hidden within us. I thought it gave a fantastic example. So this is what that Adhyatma knowledge or the secret knowledge Arjuna is talking about. So he said that out of the great compassion for Arjuna, Bhagwan revealed it to him and for us. And he did a compassion for us, but through Arjuna we are also getting it. And Arjuna is appreciating. And then he was just saying one thing. I think that's kind of interesting. He's saying, Arjuna to bichara war mein baitha tha. Like he has to go and fight the war, so uncomfortable. तो भी भगवान ने उस पे अनुग्रह करके उसको सब बताया. हम लोग तो अपने comfortable, और अभी तो और भी comfortable. Yes, everybody's in their home and we are studying Gita. So he was just saying we should appreciate it. I thought that was an interesting thing that he said. And there is this word, vachastena. That means by listening to your word, that this happened. Okay? What happened? Moh chala gaya. Mohoyam vigito mama. That after listening to your great words about this knowledge, all my delusion is gone. So, and then what delusion he's talking about? So Nikhilananji expanded it a bit. My confusion about my duty is gone, because remember, we are in chapter 11 now. He already cleared all those confusion. My confusion about real nature of God and real nature of this world, and regarding the nature of God, I already said that, about life and death. Because we used to see, death as something so horrible. No, it's a part of thing. It's the same flip side of the two coins only. My confusion about karma and karma phal, and regarding pap punya, all those my delusions are gone. And so he was just saying that before that, there's so many questions in our mind, and if they remain unanswered, he said the questions are like pebble in our shoe. They keep bothering us. There's a small pebble in our shoe, how when we walk constantly and say, no, I got to remove this. So he's saying that it is like a thorn also that, giving you trouble all the time. But if you go to somebody, who doesn't know very well, and here and there, you try to read the book here, there, he's saying then you have one question and you come back with 10 more, because more confusion ho jata hai. But here Bhagwan cleared all his doubts. Okay, I have to stop, unfortunately, here. But since this is a very heavy topic, even this much we digest will be good, and we'll continue next time. So I'm going to close the class and go on to do my other duty. Okay, sorry about that. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhaved. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. If you have any question, we'll take it up next time. Okay?
Thank you,
everybody.
Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Maji.
Hari Om.